sunset. From sunrise to sunset, I can't stop hustling. Every minute, every second, can't stop hustling. From sunrise to sunset, I can't stop.
Welcome back to them brothers that you used to know. Welcome back to that Labor Day Super Show. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Baby. Yeah, what's up, y'all? You already know we've been gone a minute, but we're back right now, live and in action. And I am brought to you on behalf of whoever wants to sponsor us, ain't it? But I'm also joined by my cohorts and the guys that are really the stars of the show. That'd be Yellow Boy and Hogs Wars, fellas. How are y'all doing?
Pretty dang excellent.
Okay, yeah. Well, yeah. Popped our boy Hogs up there. He said, just like that. He hit the smile, smile. So right now, guys, we're gonna come to you big weekend of wrestling over this Labor Day. We had WWE Payback, which we'll eventually talk about, but we also had AEW All Out, which followed AEW All In, which was not in America, but somewhere else last week. And, you know,
America.
if y'all know about that, you know about that. But there's been a lot of big things happening. But I wanted to say before we get it tossed over to Yellow Boy, because he knows what's going on, I wanted to say rest in power Terry Funk, and Bray Wyatt. Man, thank y'all for everything you contributed. And like one of them super cut short, he could have done so many great things, but what he brought was definitely great. Yeah, Yellow Boy. So I'm gonna pass it off to you, my dude, because you already know what's up. We're gonna be talking about that AEW All Outs right now, baby. Yeah. So you wanna give little
What's up,
peeps the
people?
background on it? Yeah, go ahead, my man.
Yeah. What's up, people? What's up, people? It's been a while. We ain't been on here for a minute, y'all. But before I get going, you always know what I got to do. I got to go ahead and tell y'all, make sure that y'all like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Make sure you follow us on all socials. Make sure you check out all three of us, OHB, Yellow Boy, and also, of course, Hog Wheezy over there. You know what I mean? So I don't want to, before we go into all out, real quick, because we ain't going to spend too much time on it, and I don't think that it overshadowed the weekend, which it possibly could. The biggest news that came out this weekend, even before Payback, was the fact that Tony Khan sent out a statement that Phillip Brooks, also known as CM Punk, was terminated from his employment with All Elite Wrestling due to the incident that occurred at All In backstage. Hogs Wars, what do you feel about that? What you got on it? Good or bad? How you feel?
Like we like to say sometimes, it is what it is. You can
Okay.
only do so much before somebody gonna let you go. And people think they can get away with bloody murder, but guess what? Everyone has a limit, and Tony Khan reached his.
Yeah.
To
OHB?
be to be fair, he did say it was a hard decision for him to make. He consulted a group of professionals outside of the organization to come to that conclusion. However you feel about it, I know all y'all fans. It's like Jack Perry, Young Bucks, and Kenny Omega, and everybody involved should have been fired. But like, eventually, you guys have to accept is there is a common denominator in an issue. Unfortunately, there's not been a whole lot of problems with these other people. So, having said that, like, I think it was the right move. I don't necessarily think that it was the best for business, and it was definitely a hard decision to make, and it threw a wrench into a lot of the plans. But, you know, I mean, and you have to show that eventually you're the boss, and you have to maintain that grip on your company, or people are going to run over you. Anyway, that's all
Yeah.
I got.
Yeah. And I mean, just to close it all out with this, look, we're not saying that we're not CM Punk fans. We are all CM Punk fans. And,
Ooh,
when he came back to wrestling, it was amazing. That comeback that he had was amazing. The run that he had, unfortunately, was littered with a lot of stuff from All Out last year to All Out this year. and the injury and the issues that he's had backstage and all of the reports that we're aggregating on, you know, it was just at its breaking point, unfortunately. And of course, TK had to be put in a position where he had to cut ties with CM Punk. Now, does this mean he's going back to the Fed? Who knows? Does this mean that he's going somewhere else? Who knows? I don't know if his legacy is tarnished, but I do not think that it really overshadowed the show that we had tonight at All Out at the United Center in Chicago. Okay.
Yeah,
A lot of love.
I'm trying to do some things. I don't know what's happening right now. Yo, baby.
Appreciate the love.
I got a
Got
love for
nothing
you
but
right now,
love
you
for you,
piece of
baby.
junk.
What
Yeah,
you got?
anyway. Yeah.
Got nothing but love for you, baby.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
know.
whatever. Yeah. So so we had the all out. So if y'all don't mind, I'll just zoom through the 0 hour. There were three matches on the 0 hour. The 0 hour started off with the over the budget charity battle royal with 20 men. Um, Lots of showings from Commander, from the Mogul Embassy made a big showing in the match. But at the end of the day, Hangman Adam Page, who was not booed, I found it interesting on this match that Hangman Adam Page didn't get booed. Kenny Omega didn't get booed. The Young Bucks got booed. I don't know. They're all the elite. But anyway, Hangman Adam Page was able to hit a dead eye on the apron to Brian Cage to eliminate Brian Cage to win the battle royal. And I think later on in the show, I'll just go ahead and say the charity that he chose was the Chicago Public Education Fund. Uh, so it was, what was it, $50,000 or was it $5,000?
It's 50,000
fifty
from
thousand dollars
Hangman
to
Adam Cage.
yeah, Hangman Adam Cage, which was said on commentary. And like, who? But that was that. Then the next match was the women's trio match with Hikaru Shida, Willow Nightingale, um, and Sky Blue taking on Mercedes Martinez, Diamante, and Athena with her minion, Billy Starks.
I hate that I didn't get to see Mac tonight, but anyway.
It was a really action-packed match. It went really, really quick. Of course, because they were in Chicago, the Chicagoland area. You had Sky Blue hitting the Code Blue on Diamante for the win for her team. I wish that these ladies would have been able to make it on the main show. Again, we've talked about it before off camera with Athena doing some of the best work that she's ever done in her career with this heel run. I know that Hogs Wars, you watch a lot of ROH and you get to see her on a week to week basis with her minions. You've talked to us about how well she's doing and how much she's just grinding it out every week and just putting on match after match of her life. So maybe the next pay per view, which Wrestle Dream in Seattle, that's the next pay per view, but that's going to be a collaboration with New Japan, I believe, to celebrate the life of Antonio Inoki. Then the last match on that 0 hour was for the Trios Championship. It was the Acclaim, Max Caster, Anthony and Daddy Ass returns, and they had Dennis Rodman in their corner against Brewu. I mean, Jeff Jarrett, Jay Lethal, and Satnam Singh with Sanjay Dutt and Karen Jarrett on the outside. Of course, the good guys won. It was something to put smiles on faces for the beginning of the night. And of course, Dennis Rodman was able to get the guitar and smash it over Jeff Jarrett's head. Yes, sir.
I was just gonna say, like, the people out there watching, you might want to research this, but there's like a whole rumor out there about Jeff Jarrett that his kids used to be babysat by a one Mrs. Taylor Swift back when she was younger. I don't know if that's true or not, but that was something I saw. So out there on the internet, so there got might be some truth to it. But anyway, I deflect back to you, my dude.
Was you about to say the Taz line? I digress.
I was
I
going to,
digress.
but like, I got to leave that for the Hook himself.
Oh, House Wars, what's
Ah,
going on there? There he is.
that
He
dude's
disappeared
ascended.
for a second.
He ascended.
Ninja vanished.
Yo, man just turned into
Something's,
like,
something's going
oh.
on with my system over there. So
Hey, it's okay, man. Like we
so I'm
we,
trying to
we got
figure it out.
technical difficulties. It always happens when we go live. It's all straight.
It's it's real life, baby. And
We
Yeah, indeed.
RL, baby, for yuns that know American Sign Language. R and L, that for yuns means real life, because we real. There ain't nobody realer than the bros. We keep it real, but not as real on YouTube, because we're realer than we are with our language that we allow Hogs Wars to maintain. We get so many, and he's allowed to have all of them. Hey, man,
when
you
keeping
just
it
straight.
real goes
He
wrong.
just straight disappeared. That dude turned into a ghost. He said, "I'm Patrick Swayze, baby." Just like that. Yeah. Anyway, continue on your story while
Oh,
he's
my
fixing his technical.
love.
My darling, baby.
But I did want to
Yeah.
say that Karen Jarrett got a shout out for being from Hendersonville,
Okay.
Tennessee. So
He said,
hey, Tennessee shout out. But that was the end of the 0 hour, and it kicks off into the main show with the ROH Tag Team Championships on the line with the champions Better Than You, baby, MJF and Adam Cole versus Dark Orders, Alex Reynolds and John Silver, Johnny Hungy. Um, I'll defer to you, OHB. What you got on this match? What did you think about this match between those two teams?
man, I'm really honestly, I was in and out of it. Like the little bits that I saw of it is basically how I thought it was gonna go. I ain't gonna lie, but man, like
Ta-da. Sorry.
I don't know. Yo, there you go. We got that crown on him again. Oh, he ain't got like he ain't looking like Larry no more. You know what I'm saying?
Looking like a halo.
But
Ashley.
I don't know, man, if like the decision should have been the way that it went. It having that go the way that it goes, man, and maintaining that they still going to have to be on the other show because of it. That's all I can say. I mean, I know we ain't
Yeah.
really talked about the finish of it, but like the Dark Order is hanging out over there right now. That's kind of like their jam, and like Hogs Wars of anybody here, and he knows, dude. Even on his Instagram presence and everything else, he gets the most hits on everything. He knows that, like, they're over there, they're putting in work, they having the best run ever because a lot of people discounted everything that was going on with them, what they got going now, even though they're not as 4,000 people big as they used to be. I don't know if I agreed with the way that it went, but it's whatever.
And Hogs Wars, I was going to ask you, since you have the most information on the Dark Order, being that they more, as of late, been performing on Ring of Honor shows as of late. Um, what did you get from this match? What did you see? What were some of your highlights? That kind of stuff.
Well, they're continuing this idea that the Dark Order is trying to, quote unquote, be darker than they used to be. No more of this slapstick comedy, no more of the playing around. They're being a lot more serious. And that came across a lot during the match. You notice it was a lot more heelish in a way, but it's almost like they're trying not to be. They're just determined to be stiff from now on.
Right.
And
Mm-hmm.
that part is coming along really strong. They've had a really good run. If you get a chance to go on another little ROH in on YouTube or something like that and catch up on some of the little storyline with how Stu Grayson's kind of left and moved with Righteous, and shout out to the Righteous because they give us all kind of love. Thank y'all for all of that. But just the way that whole storyline's been going, it was the best storyline on ROH till Death Before Dishonor, and then Athena kind of just ran roughshod over everything. So say what you want to, she has been putting in A+ work. But anyway, back to the match. Yeah, they've been really putting a lot more work into being more vicious, more ruthless aggression, if you will. So
Toothless
I've really
aggression.
enjoyed that.
Oh, that's right. Taboo for yuns today, baby. Oh my God! I told you you're gonna get me one day on the stream. That's it. Yeah.
But so I want to point out because I don't want the dead air. Um, so the main thing about this match is the fact that MJF played up a neck injury in this. He got injured in the neck, and then Alex Reynolds, with more of that heelish tactics, hit him with a chair to exacerbate. There's my college word of the day. Exacerbate that neck injury and send them to the back. And of course, Cole had to go one on two with the Dark Order, and I don't know, it gets me all riled up every time I see John Silver do that run where he's doing those flurry of moves where super kick, and then suplex and whatnot. Didn't get to see the one where they finish it with Alex, where they back and forth and volleying with the individual, but MJF makes a triumphant return back to the ring. I think he's really getting into this babyface run. I said to the bros off camera that I think that so the conclusion is that Better Than You Baby retain. And I
Yeah.
think, and this is just my opinion, you guys tell me if y'all have differing opinions. I think this was done just because of the fact that how the weekend is gone. This kind of has the most momentum as far as storylines in AEW right now, fan momentum. You don't necessarily want to break them up, or at least that's their thought process, break them up right now when in the forefront of their mind CM Punk is gone and they're in
Right.
Chicago. So let's just give them something to kind of feed the crowd or whatnot moving forward.
Feed
Y'all
me
kind of agree,
s'mores.
disagree?
I agree.
I definitely
It,
agree with that because
and the
it's the
whole
best.
thing.
Period.
Go ahead,
And I
Hogswood.
was just saying it's the best storyline going in the AEW right now. Period. Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say they have to do something to mitigate that CM Punk departure because like they built literally this pay per view is built around him. I
Yeah.
know that his spot on the card may have been different. I don't know, but it is what it is. But having said that, they have to maintain people's interest in maintaining things a little bit further out because of that. So anyway,
Hmm.
so
Hey, and
having
MJ,
said this though, but before we go to the next match, that's when I really came back in full bore on it. So yeah, go ahead.
MJF was able to hit that kangaroo kick, and it's actually over. Crowd was chanting kangaroo
Mm-hmm.
kick, and they finished with the double clothesline. Like that was their finish. So it's completely over. But as you said, OHB, moving to the next match, we went from banger to banger, and it was a transition period in between some overlap because as Better Than You Baby were leaving and going to the back, the the champion of TV, as he calls himself, King of TV, Samoa Joseph, was coming out to prepare to get his match going.
Got a
A
fat
little bit of
ass.
a, and there was a look that was
There's
given.
one.
Hey,
Yep, there's
we
one.
18 minutes in. We good.
Yeah, there was a look that was going, and MJF goes to the ring and gets in a scuffle with Samoa Joe, gets put in the guillotine after the fact that he had those neck injuries or whatnot. So I had posted on IG that MJF didn't forget about way back where he was a security guard in WWE and Samoa Joe pushed his butt,
He even put it
get
on
that
Twitter
butt
about
back.
that. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's little stuff like that. And I know that Will Washington um from Fightful and other things, his own podcast and such, Will Washington was hired in to AEW to do the continuity and make sure that they're doing things with continuity. And that's one thing that's, people don't forget, especially with these AEW fans. I was about to call them marks. These AEW fans, they don't forget. But the ROH TV title with Samoa Joe versus Shane Taylor. Shane Taylor previously a Ring of Honor mainstay. So because it's a Ring of Honor mainstay and the Ring of Honor title, I'm going to defer to Hogs Wars first. What you got?
Well, Shane Taylor won the ROH tournament to get the chance because he beat Gravity and a pretty decent match to go against Samoa Joe. And for the last couple of weeks, he's been talking about, can't wait to get it, can't wait to get it. But they never really pushed when it was going to happen until like the last week. But, glad they finally said this is when. So you expecting what it's going to be, of course, as a Big E say, big men slapping man meat. And man, it was the first time I've seen in one of the interactions Samoa Joe go down from somebody else popping him. That never happens. Never happens. He very rarely sells for anybody. So you either A, he likes this guy, B, he likes him enough to at least put him over during the match. So
Respect.
pretty good overall. But that's the basis of all this for the most part because Shane Taylor's one of those guys back in the day who actually won the ROH title, him and Dalton Castle. So they were kind of part of the original uh, TV title tournament that happened like a couple months ago. So kind of running it back now. It's Shane's chance to get it. So it's nice to the fact that he's on the PPV to actually get everybody's eyes on him.
Yeah.
OHB.
OHB already knows how it went down, and I said this while we were watching it. Samoa Joe is one of them dudes like Andre the Giant back in the day where if he didn't want you to do something to him, you weren't going to be doing it to him. So the fact that he allowed a lot of that offense to come to him shows you that he has respect. If nothing else, it was because he's a worker above anything else. So having said that, like Samoa Joe took a lot of big offense from him. So that shows me that like okay, Samoa Joe's doing that. I just hope that Samoa Joe doesn't become the gatekeeper, and I hate to use that term, but we talked about it for that TV title. But like, if you beat Samoa Joe, then you're gonna go on and do ROH big things. That's all I got to say about that. He's that guy that says, okay, does this dude have the clout on the main stage to show everybody that he's got what it takes to go to that next level? Samoa Joe's that dude. He is the Nyla Rose, so to speak, of that whole division. So if you get one over on him, then whoever beats him is going to go on to do whatever the next tier of championship is in a Ring of Honor. So having said that, I'm not going to spoil the end of it, but the way that it came down, like yo, I bought into it tenfold. I really did. So I'm going to pass it on to Yellow, and he can tell y'all, yuns people, you people, about it, baby. Yo.
Gimmick infringement. But yeah,
Yeah, I beat you
yeah,
to it.
you didn't have to pass to me because I didn't write too many notes. I mean, it was what it was. I think OHB or excuse me, Hogs Wars has said everything that needs to be said. Like it was two meaty men slapping meat, like the whole entire match. It was just meat slapping. I mean, the conclusion came from Joe, and it was kind of sudden. He put on the coquina clutch and got the submission win. Um,
But I will add that he kneed dude about 75 times with them Kawada quick knees. Bat, 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 bat. I mean, he hit him with so many knees, went right to the clutch. To me, I was super accepting of that. I was like, yeah, because like if I got hit that many and was dazed like that, like there ain't no telling what could have happened to me at that point. So I bought into it for that reason. So
yeah,
yeah, that coquina clutch came in. I was expecting a pass out, but like Yellow Boy said, he's like that's something they do more on like collision, like TV shows, and he tapped. I mean, that's it. So
yeah. Um, yeah, it did what it needed to do. I think the bigger thing is what happened before the match started. Just getting MJF involved with
where's that
Samoa
going?
Joe.
Where's that going?
Yes, we want to see where that goes, how it's going to play with
Future World
Adam
Champion
Cole.
match.
With Adam Cole, how is he going to play into it with the Kingdom? Because he's going in with the Kingdom and Roddy Strong. So got some overlapping storylines going on there. But it takes us into the next match, which is the TNT Championship match with the actual champion, Christian Cage, I mean, Luchasaurus, against Darby Allin. Like, I mean, Darby Allin had Nick Wayne come to the ring with him. And of course, Christian Cage, since he's been in AEW, has had this dead dad fetish and talking about dead dads, which he's been crushing it. I mean, he's been crushing this heel role. I love it. Um, it Darby Allin, Hogsworth, what did you say about Darby Allin during the match, or was that OHB? Which one of y'all said something about him as far as his legacy and how far he's going to go?
I think we both did, really. I mean,
Mhm.
I was saying he's going to be like Mick Foley when he was on Wife Swap that time, having to have whoever his wife or girlfriend is at the time changing his socks out because that man takes unnecessary bumps. But that's his gimmick. At the same time, he puts his body
Mhm.
on the line, and eventually it's going to catch up with him. Like he's a young cat right now, but when he gets to be our ripened old age, and we're not old, he's gonna have some problems. That's all I can say about it.
All I'm gonna say
Yeah.
is if you look at the casket from the match
Yup.
and all in, there's nothing else need to be said. When the casket came out, it was nice and pristine. When he was done with it, the thing looked like the a tank had set on the goddamn thing. So I'm
So
telling you, you keep doing these, I'm gonna jump off everything and do this to yourself. You're not gonna be able to function much longer. You see how Jeff Hardy is right now, just doing one little swanton every time. His whole body looks defeated.
so for
So
those of y'all that don't know and hadn't seen All In, like I didn't watch it, but I saw highlights. He flat backed with a coffin drop right on the casket and did not hit his opponent. So like he dented the whole top of that casket in, took a nasty bump, which rumor maybe actual fact that he hurt his back on it, and that went into play on this match.
No, shoot, he did report. So, and we're aggregating this from somewhere else, but he said that he did have sustained some back injury from that, but he's okay. Um, but again, as both of y'all have said, how long is he going to be okay from one of those things? Being young,
mhm.
hey, you got that resiliency. You can, but when you're in your 30s and you're flat backing off of something like that, you're gonna be out for at least a month or two or three or
Yup.
seven. So you know what I
or
mean?
or 12, like Yellow Boy.
Right.
In a week full of
Yeah.
painkillers trying to function. So yeah, that's not cool.
Shout
Yeah.
out to Yellow
So I
Boy's mobility, y'all. Like that man's getting around a lot better. If
Yeah,
you don't know what's
heck
going on
yeah.
with him, like follow everything. He's been out there on it. But like we just gonna give him props because that man's getting around without help, and props to him on that.
He's
Yo,
still on
baby.
the crutch.
he's officially Tupac. I get around.
Right.
Yeah,
I
what a
get
tremendous
around
segue.
it.
That's
So
it, dude. Yep.
anyway,
Yo.
next.
Popping. Um,
Only God can
but
judge me.
kudos to Luchasaurus, and I believe also OHBU has said something about the fact that AEW, you know what? I'm not going to steal your thunder, so I will kick it over to you to talk about this match quickly and the statement that you have made about AEW and the menacing heel that they need in AEW. So I'll kick it over to you, OHB.
So, like, if you don't know, I'm going to tell you real quick, right off the rip. Luchasaurus went over in a very commanding way. He beat the absolute dog, you know what, out of Darby Allin. But, like I had said, there hasn't been anybody with a commanding presence like The Undertaker or Kane. Not the theatrics. I'm talking about somebody that gets in there and just absolutely annihilates a person. And they're doing that with Luchasaurus. So before even Hogs Wars was saying he was like, oh, I'm a Masters and whatever. Like, okay, I get that because everybody thought he was just like this lumbering brute. And now they've really went full tilt with it. They need to continue that with him because he is very good in that role. He's been super awesome without having to say anything because he's had Christian Cage saying everything for him. So if they maintain that, that's awesome. Even if the whole thing with the championship where he finally is like, Christian, I'm done with you being the champion and I'm over here handling your business. I'm done with you. Even if Christian comes out of it a face, I'm good with that. They need to maintain that monster heel because they really haven't had that since when Lance Archer first rolled onto the scene. So they need that commanding presence. Anybody that goes up against him and it does work, gets one over on him, oh man, they've done something big because they booked this dude to be that monster, and they need that. So that's all I'm gonna say. But anyway, Luchasaurus goes over Darby Allin after absolutely manhandling him, working his back over, and then eventually he gets to 1, 2, and 12, 3,000 on him. Yeah, I mean, it was brutal. Bob
And
Evans. Yeah.
there was there was a particular part about this match as it went to its conclusion. Hogswoods, do you remember the part that Christian Cage played in everything and the conclusion of it?
Oh yeah. So as usual, Christian Cage is doing the mind games. So he's first messing with Nick Wayne, telling him he needs to throw in the towel, you need to save your buddy. Come on, help him out, do what you gotta do. And then when Darby's getting ready to try to go for the coffin drop, he looks over and Christian Cage is basically about to say, I'm just about to crush your boy. You better give up. Just give up now.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
I'm going to
instead of
crush your boy.
instead of giving up, he decides, I'm gonna coffin drop you and jumps outside the ring. But because of that distraction, here comes Luchasaurus, and let me go ahead and decide to give you a couple tombstones to the end of your
Oh
days.
my God. That
And it's
finisher was
just,
dope.
ooh, just and then do his usual Luchasaurus finish, and it was over. So,
Yeah, and them tombstones wasn't like Tombstone 1 picked back up. He picked him up off the ground 3 different times, and on the final time, he yoked him right on the top of the turnbuckle and then hit him with the nastiest back of the head lariat I'd ever seen. And it was the one, two,
Yes.
three. And then at the end of that match, though, Hogs Wars, you remember what happened? Christian, yet again, up to his shenanigans.
yep, and I still don't remember.
That's
But I
all
know
right. He
my
rolled in
brain
there and
died
he
right
was
when you asked me.
hey, it's all good. He was going to clap Darby Allin with the concertos, and then everybody in the back said, "No, bro, we ain't good with that." So they came in and cleared house. But anyway, so I don't know where that's going to
Yeah,
go, but like it just shows you Christian Cage, like you said, he's a master of the mind games, and he gets
Mhm.
under the skin of anybody that's been in there. So he's definitely the strongest link of the two of them, even though he's physically not stronger than the two of them. But anyway, yeah.
I just figured that all of them had dead dads and they came out to get
they
on
they
Christian
had heat
Cage.
with that. They felt it in their soul.
He been getting
Yeah.
folks' moms and dads, so it's just like he getting
Yeah,
everybody. He don't give a darn which
Yeah,
side.
he been talking about tell your mom slide in my DMs. I'm gonna slide in her DMs. That's what's up.
yeah. He was telling Nick Wayne that yesterday on Collision that he said, "I noticed that your mom ain't out here, and I didn't get a chance to pass her my number, so she can slide in my DMs, and I can slide in her." I'm like, "Whoa, sir! Like violation, Nick Wayne."
Hey, but he keeps it what I call Appalachian real, baby. He does exactly
Yeah,
what he needs to do. He keeps it dirty, he keeps it south, and he keeps it below the belt. And that's all OHB's about, baby. Yeah.
Yo.
so
And if y'all don't know, you know now. Ain't
Ninja. So moving to the
it?
next match was, if I can steal a phrase from Sean Ross Sapp, another match with Serling Beef Sons of You Know What, which was Miro versus
Oh
Powerhouse
man.
Hobbs, which
Oh man.
that match
Oh.
there slapped. Like it was everything that you thought that match should be with Miro, which I'll give my take and then Hobbs was I'll pass it over to you. But one, Miro and Powerhouse Hobbs are exclusive pretty much to Collision right now,
Yep.
but they're not getting any TV time. So hopefully with this match that they put on gives
Mhm.
them that TV time because they really put on a great showing, both of them, regardless of the winner. They went out there and put on a big meaty man match and how you're supposed to big meaty man like tit for tat meaty man match. Shout out to Miro, Tennessee's own. You may thought he was from Bulgaria, but he lives in Nashville, Tennessee. He's Tennessean. And Powerhouse Hobbs, he needs it. I'm still on this campaign that Powerhouse Hobbs needs a championship. Like his TNT title run was too short. So he needs another title run. But Hogs Wars, what'd you think about that match?
It definitely was my favorite match of the night, even though I know there's another one that's a definite contender later on. Man, I the best part about this match was it wasn't just big men slapping, man meat, blah blah blah. It was an actual thought out storyline based beating the hell out of each other. Because let's face it, these are two giant men. They're extremely strong, as we've seen them toss people all over the place. So neither one of them was going to just budge just because you hit me. So watching these sledgehammers going back and forth and constantly smashing the tar out of each other was awesome. And then to watch, Hobbs to get over 1 minute, and then to watch Miro literally just seemed like he was the darn Hulk for a minute when he was smashing cars over people in the darn movie, just constantly having to keep hitting him like you're not going to go down with just 2 shots, 1 shot. I've really got to beat you like a rented mule almost to get you down. That constantly back and forth just made this match so. It reminded me almost of Sheamus and what's the dude's name? Gunther. I was about to say the other name.
Yeah,
And
that's
how
okay.
how both of them were just laying the leather to each other, but these two guys are almost like bigger, so it's like it almost required mammoth amounts of force to finish one of these guys off, and I really really enjoyed the fact that two guys, as Yellow Boy said, they gave him time to actually make this match a match instead of just doing the usual. This is gonna be 5 minutes and over with. Even Nigel was like, "This is gonna be a short match because these two giant guys aren't gonna be able to. Heavyweight fights don't last too long." Well, guess what? This one
Yeah, he
did.
said that.
This one did, and I'm glad it did because it made the match.
Yup.
But OHB.
Man, I mean, I don't know why he deferred to me because, like you said, it was two trees cutting each other down at the same time. They went in. Hobbs, like, when people see Miro, they automatically assume it's going to be a wrap. But Hobbs wasn't going down on going out like that. He even went in under the clutch one time, powered himself out of it. And then he got absolutely beat down at that point. But he did hit his big move on it. Like they both hit all. I mean, it was just a blown out. Like I was not expecting this match between two big dudes because normally two dudes of that size, like even Nigel McGuinness said, heavyweight fights don't go that long. That's true because normally it goes in there. It don't go past the first round in terms of like MMA. But this one did. It went the distance and like it elevated both guys. Like even though I will go ahead and throw the spoiler out there before I pass it on to my homie Yella, Miro picked up the win, but it wasn't an easy win. It wasn't like he came in and manhandled Hobbs. So okay, like now let's go. They got something in their hand here. Whether or not they let that turn to dust or they let that form into something and continue on with it is up to them. But like they did a good job with the storytelling in this match, man, and it really was one of the best matches. I didn't think I was gonna feel that way about it on paper, but like I was super excited for it. So like I said, Miro wins again with that clutch, but it took him a minute before he got it in real good. He had to do a lot of work to get it, but ultimately it was his his W, if you will. Yella, what you think?
He got the win with the game over, formerly known as the Accolade, I believe is what it was in WWE. But I did like the fact that they did move thief on each other,
Yes.
where you know Miro used the spine buster and Hobbs tried to use the game over to no avail. And as Hogs Wars had said, it was a house fight. Like it really was a house fight. But as y'all said, Miro got the win. But some post match stuff. Both men stood in the ring, and basically it was Arnold Schwarzenegger and Carl Weathers giving the handshake off a Predator to each other.
Yes.
meaty,
that's
big meaty
perfect.
man. Yeah, I know y'all seen the meme with the muscle bound handshake. That's what it
Mhm.
was. But Miro goes to go outside the ring, and Hobbs attacks him, and he's
Yup.
beating him up and such like that. And then music hits, and the Titantron simply says "hot" and "flexible." And
Mhm.
who should appear? CJ Perry, or formerly known in the WWE as Lana, Miro's wife, comes out,
CJP.
strikes out, and just comes out, and she gets a chair from off from under the ring, and she hits Hobbs with it. Hobbs, of course, not wasn't very effective. Um, Pokemon reference, and gets up, looks like he's about to try to do something to her. Miro gets the chair, lays out Hobbs. Hobbs jumps out the ring. Crowd's going wild. CJ Perry standing in the ring with Miro. Miro just leaves. It was almost as if he said, "I didn't ask you to come here," or whatever the case may
Mhm.
be. It was reported months back that CJ Perry, well, not even months back, a couple of weeks ago, when they had Dynamite in Nashville, it was reported that she was backstage along with Danielle Monet. I can't remember what her name was in WWE. Summer Rae, that was her name
Yeah,
in
yeah, yeah, yeah.
WWE.
Samurai.
They were both they were both backstage when they were here in Nashville. So it was only a matter of time that she made a AEW appearance. Now, what this means moving forward, how the relationship is going to be on camera, that is to be determined. But CJ Perry, wait a minute, to steal Wrestle Talk, CJ Perry to AEW confirmed. So, um,
Double confirmed.
right,
What's that
moving
mean
to
over there, Hogs? We're double
right,
confirmed. Are you talking about double
double
confirmed or like double
double
confirmed?
confirmed,
No.
Double confirmed? What's
double
up?
confirmed.
On one of these shows I watch, they always say people always say that when somebody's supposed to sign or somebody's going to do something on like a movie, they say it's confirmed. But until you get the double confirmed, aka they're definite, we always gonna say just confirmed. We're gonna start saying double confirmed because that means they're
Okay,
definitely
okay,
there. But
okay,
All
it's just
right.
a random
okay.
quote. Anyway, Yellow Boy.
Well, speaking of double confirmed, the next match on the schedule is the TBS Championship with Chris Statlander versus the challenger of Ruby Soho. I'm sad that I didn't get Taz on commentary so he could sing Ruby Soho's theme song.
Ruby, Ruby, Ruby,
That's so
Soho,
good,
Ruby
dude.
Soho,
Ruby,
because he's
Ruby, Ruby,
Taz is the
Soho.
best.
Oh
Yes.
No, he sings
man, he
Soho,
sings so
Soho,
bad.
Ruby,
God.
Ruby, 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 Soho.
Soho.
Yeah. So yeah, we didn't
Right.
get that. We still had Surly Jim Ross on the commentary booth, but I, for me, I like this match. I wish it would have got just a little bit of time because they did the traditional start out slow, and then just the last like 5 minutes of that match just
Oh
ramped
man,
up to like 12.
man.
Like, um, what was what was Ruby Soho's name in Shimmer, and in the Indies was it Lucy Lovelace?
Yeah,
Is that what it was?
yeah. I
Something
mean,
like
I know
that.
it's Loveless. I know that was her
Yeah,
last name part was Loveless. So
yeah. So she broke out some moves that, like OHBU said and pointed out, that she hadn't used since she was in,
right.
Shimmer and all that. Because like that short Rana that she did from Nebus, like that, it was awesome. And to see these women do what they do and being able to have time to do it, like it just needs to be booked more women booked on the shows. Please book more women on the
That
shows.
wasn't
But
7 minutes.
right,
Right.
the Heidi Lovelace, sorry,
Yep, Heidi.
Heidi
That's it.
Lovelace was her
Heidi
name.
Loveless.
Heidi Lovelace on the Indies. She was doing a lot of these things. And of course, when she went to NXT at first, she was doing a lot of some of these moves and stuff. So it's good to see that she was able to do that. She brought Saraya, the new AEW Women's Champion, with her to ringside. Of course, numbers game always plays a part, or did it?
Yeah,
With the
exactly, baby.
match. I had to steal a little bit from OHB, or did it?
Or did
but
it?
I really, like I said, I'm a big advocate of the women's matches and stuff. I wish they get more time. It's got a little bit more time, and they prove that they can do longer matches. Not okay with the whole Outcast thing. I think it's past its expiration date with
I
the
like the
Outcast.
way you
I
move.
I would really like to see Ruby Soho do something individually. She kind of came out when she first came to AEW. She was on fire. They were pushing her to the moon, and then she just kind of fell flat. The Outcast thing kind of brought her up. So now it's time to go ahead and get her back to a solo kind of deal so that she can get her own title. However, Hogs Wars. Anything that kind of stuck out to you from this match?
Well, definitely the end, of course, but also the idea that we kept talking about the match before being so long, where somebody
Mm-hmm.
else going to get knocked on their match, and surprisingly, theirs really wasn't. It did seem to go a lot longer than majority of the women's matches do.
Yeah.
It definitely didn't suck, as we like to say, and it was nice to see that the Outcast thing is finally kind of hitting that point where it's like, we either gonna keep this or we're gonna cut this. So it's nice to see some kind of motion going into that. But OSB, you wanna say the end?
Yeah, baby. Throw your hands in the air and wave them like you just don't care. And when outside interference ain't yours, just throw it. Yeah, baby. So the numbers game showed up, but did it show up? No, it did not. Because Tony Storm doing her Ric Flair ish. My shoes cost more than your house. Eating them boys everywhere and anywheres. Came out there when Saraya was gonna actually interject, and she took the spray can that she was gonna hit in the face of Chris Statlander, and she's like, and ran off with it. And people was like, "What's Marilyn Monroe doing right now?" She's like, "I'm out. I'm out the cup." If y'all have noticed, she ain't been coming out. She's been coming out with them, but she's not been coming out with them in her green attire like the rest of them have. So she's there, but she ain't. So they were trying to do that little bull crap where they hit her in Statlander in the face with the spray. She came in and snatched it, and she was like, "Hey, what's up with this spray?" Like, "Oh, yo, it ain't working." And then Ruby's like, "What's up, bruh?" Chris Statlander rolled in there and hit her with the game over, whatever her move's called. What's it called, Yellow? You know,
Sunday Night Fever.
Sunday Night Fever. She hit her with that game over rap. So, but having said that, Chris Statlander did go over. I saw some things out of Ruby that I hadn't seen in a minute, harkened back to her old Heidi Lovelace days, where she hit the poison rod in a couple moves, and the match complexity after that point changed. Like the crowd was into it at that point. She hit like a real quick battery of moves. Then all that came out there, the number games. You thought, oh, okay, this is gonna be a wrap, but it was not. Chris Statlander holds on to the belt one more again after hitting that big old move. And it was a wrap. I don't know what else to say about it. Like now I'm interested. Okay, they're doing good storytelling with this further in the story with the outcasts. So now we're gonna see coming on your TV, baby. What's gonna happen? Because if y'all been following it, Tony Storm ain't been Tony Storm because she lost the belt. She ain't been sure of herself. She's been getting super hype with any kind of people announcing or talking to her about it. She's been throwing her shoes and this and that. She ain't been coming out wearing the green. Okay, like this is the final departure of it. So now we're gonna see what goes on going forward. It's gonna eventually be Tony Storm and Saraya on it, I think, eventually. But she's gonna have to go through Ruby first. And like we say, like this might be Ruby's breakout moment. And that's what we needed because everybody hyped her up and they brought her in. They did all this stuff. She's been lackluster. She's been a fodder. She's been somebody's crony. And now it's time for her to get hers. So that's all I'm gonna say about it. Yeah.
And didn't Tony
Yeah.
Storm come from out from under the ring?
Yeah.
Yes, she did. Yes, she
She
did.
came. She came from out under the ring. I said, I'm calling her Tony Storm. Broken Tony Storm is the best version of Tony Storm.
Broken
Like
Hornswoggle.
she's
Yes. hair.
Basically, she is
Yeah.
off her rocker. I mean, her hairstyles have changed up and stuff like that. She looked like Gwen Stefani and Marilyn Monroe and Lady Gaga.
Lacey Evans and anybody else you want to say, but she definitely come out
Right.
there. Her hair's been on fleek, and Juice loves it.
That is right. Juice loves it, and that's
Yo,
what's
the juice
important.
is loose, baby.
Literally.
So the next match after this was the strap match, the no disqualification strap match, which was different than normal strap matches. If
Yo.
you're familiar with how strap matches work, you know that they have to touch all four corners to get the win. This one was basically you just win by pin or submission while being strapped together. And it was Ricky Starks versus a returning Brian Danielson. And of course, yesterday, if you watched Collision, you know that there was a contract signing and they pulled a WCW, WWE back in the war days when when WWE bought out WCW because the name on the contract said the Dragon, but it wasn't Ricky the Dragon Steamboat as Ricky Starks called out. It was the American Dragon, Brian Danielson, and he signed the contract and they did the strap match. Ricky Starks came out and immediately he's so charismatic. The guy, you know, you can tell that he's going to be a star. That's nothing new. Everyone says that all the time. He's walking around the ring, checking his pulse, making sure that he's on okay, doing his deal or whatnot. And then he just attacks Daniel Bryan when Brian Danielson, excuse me, has on the strap, and Ricky Starks does not. My God, this match, the amount of welts. I'm only imagining because I haven't looked at social media yet, but I can only imagine the welts that are on the backs, chests, and faces of both opponents because they were laying into each other the entire match with that strap. Like any conceivable way that you can think of to use a long strap, they were that was something that sounded a lot dirtier than what I intended it to sound like as I was saying, and I'm like, wait, sketchy, sus. That was very sus. Sorry, but yeah, they just beat the entire you know what out of each other, and then I made the statement while we were watching it that since Ricky Starks' best friend Cody Rhodes, the American roller coaster, is no longer at AEW. Somebody's got to be the one to take all the strap hits and stuff like that, burn themselves and do the ridiculous stuff. So why not Ricky Starks? But OHB, I've embellished enough. Anything you want to point out from the match?
I mean, Ricky Starks laid it into Brian, man. With that strap, he beat the absolute you know what out of him, slapped him. I mean, the whole match went down straight up. They was each slapping each other like with that belt. Like, man, you can't slap nobody because even before it got started, Starks took off his like weight belt that he wears that says Stark on it. He slapped down like Brian Danielson with it. I keep saying Daniel Bryan, but y'all know Brian Danielson
Mm-hmm.
with it so many times. And then it got into the actual cuff of the match, and they still was slapping each other with that strap, dude. It was crazy. Like some of them slaps they had around the neck, the jaw, the face. I mean, God Almighty, dude. I mean, I don't know
Yeah.
what to tell y'all. Like, it elevated Starks to a whole different level because, like, people didn't think he's going to be able to maintain. Yeah, he maintained on it. But, there's some few things that Ricky the Dragon got into. If y'all don't already know, on Collision, Ricky Starks signed a match with the Dragon. That's how he thought he was going to get Ricky Steamboat in this strap match after he beat him with the belt. No, dude. Like, he didn't think about it. Just said the Dragon. He didn't know the American Dragon was going to come out and answer that challenge. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, like, they beat the crap out of each other the whole time with that strap. They gonna have some welts in the morning. That's all I can say about that. But like Hogs Wars, man, I don't know. Like, how did you feel about it? For sure.
Well, definitely didn't suck once again. But secondly, um, very stiff match. Very, very stiff match. It was, nice to see Daniel back out there and giving his all. Um, Everybody bled in this match. So it was not only like a brutal match, but a bloody brutal match. So kind of seen that coming. Um, Finish was very interesting, uh, especially when you think, both guys are, just going tit for tat, and then here comes Big Bill to try to help Ricky Starks out. Of course, Ricky the Dragon is not going to let that go back. So he goes out there and helps them kind of take care of Big Bill in a way. Of course, Daniel Bryan, I got to jump from something somewhere in this thing. So takes care of Big Bill. And then they finally get in the ring. Looks like Starks is going to win, going for Rochambeau. And next thing you know, here we go in this LaBelle lock. And of course, we're all like, okay, this is going to be the end of it. Oh, no, no, no. He starts to get loose. Hands get a little free from all the blood on it. So guess what? Time to take the strap. And this guy literally takes it around this guy's neck, and he starts choking him in the LaBelle lock. And if you've seen the picture, it says, 1,000 words. The guy's red in the face. He's going to sleep, man, and he literally just fades. And I'm glad they did it that way. Enough people tapped out already in this darn thing. Somebody had to go to sleep in this. And I'm hoping, just like we've said about, Stone Cold in the WrestleMania 13 with Bret Hart, hopefully this helps him elevate a little more and showing that, hey, I can do more than just some of these ratchet matches I've been doing before, and I can do something real that people can get behind. Yellow Boy.
Just as what I posted on IG, it was bloody, it was brutal, and it was sadistic. Like it's basically Brian Danielson's playground. Like he absolutely seemingly enjoyed it. There was moments where he just dared Ricky Starks, just hit me. Like he was hitting him with the strap, like, dude, you're not doing anything that is affecting me whatsoever. Come on. Like, yeah. And if you've seen the thumbnail, you see the end result of what happened. It it might have not been the match of the night, but it should have elevated 2 stars. Again, there is a large hole on Collision that now needs to be filled with a superstar to head that show since it was particularly made for a specific person. Brian Danielson could be that person. Ricky Starks needs to be that person. For all of you who don't know, Ricky Starks was supposed to have a match against CM Punk tonight for the Real World Heavyweight Championship, and that just never happened because CM Punk's fired. So, you know, Stark seems like he can step into that role. He just needs the time to elevate and do that. So, really good match. Again, I'll say it now. This whole card, looking at it on paper, didn't look like it was going to be exciting whatsoever. But the superstar quality that they have in AEW just really pushes these matches to where you're like, man, that was really a really good show. Like certain matches were memorable, some will go to the wayside. But moving to the next match, it was a tag team match with Katsuyori Shibata and Eddie Kingston versus the Blackpool Combat Club's Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta. And again, it's exactly what you would think this match would be because of who's in it. There's still that blood feud and that rivalry between Claudio and Eddie. And any chance that they can get, they're going to try to tear each other's heads off while they're in the ring. But OHB, I think me and you were talking about it. It's just interesting that the fact that while they have actual real life heat, they can still go in there and be professional about things and wrestle each other and put on a good match. Make sure that each other are safe, because you could tell when they were doing moves and holds on each other that they were trying to make sure the other person was safe when they were doing it. And like, you get your spots out of it, you get your water kicks, because he was in the building. Apparently, we got told about it throughout the broadcast. You get your machine gun chops, you get just your regular chops, you get your uppercuts from Claudio popped OHB by saying he hit an uppercut, European uppercut was not effective. One of those deals. He said popped him again. It was everything that you thought it would be with the four people that were in that ring. And I'll kick it over to you, OHB, because I know that you made it a point to say that your mind is being turned on Wheeler Yuta because beforehand he was just a little SH1T or sugar honey iced tea. And now he has a role that he plays with the BCC. So I'm gonna kick it over to you and just kind of let you go at it for this match.
Yeah, man. So, like, you already know what to expect when Ed Kingston rolls in. He's going to hit all them New Japan Four Pillars moves that he does, like the Ju Akiyama, which Akiyama is not a four pillar because that is Akira Taue, Matsuhiro Misawa, Kenta Kobashi, and Toshiaki Kawada, but he still uses the exploder to full effect. That's one of his favorite go-tos. He does the machine gun chops. He does the little Kawada kicks. He does all them things that these guys do. But he also has Shibata in his back. So Shibata just does what Shibata does, and he goes out there, given his moniker, and wrestles. He just stretch a dude 12 ways till next year. Having said all that, Claudio came in there, hit a few uppercuts on Shibata. Shibata no sold a few of them, which Yellow Boy popped me when he said, like Pokemon, Claudio hits to no effect. Yeah, so I died. But like Wheeler Utah, man, he plays his part good. He goes in there, gets beat up. He does this and that, but he doesn't get beat up to the point to where he's out of the match. He still maintains, he still does stuff, and he hit a beautiful German suplex at one point in time that dropped Eddie Kingston right on his dome. And I was like, oh my God, that was a legit one. And then he come right back full again, so full circle, hit another one for a beautiful bridge pin, and it was just nice. So like the more they elevate Willa Utah, I can see they're gonna build stuff around him. But eventually they gotta be a story to be told to where he's tired of being the whipping boy for the crew. And I think that's gonna come sooner than later. But yeah, man, like the whole match went down like I thought. It was hard hitting. Everybody's getting their licks in. And Hogs Wars with the banana shirt on will tell y'all a little bit more. Oh, yo, you didn't think I was gonna say something about that yellow cut, man? You got that whole big old react. Look at that yellow head boy, over there on that shirt. Yo. Anyway, Hogs Wars gonna tell y'all how it ended up, and if he don't, that's okay. Somebody will, ain't it?
First, there's two.
I try to sneak it in there, man.
Second, once again, another good match. Didn't suck, of course. Um, like the finish, having all of a sudden, like you said beforehand, European uppercut, no effect. All of a sudden, now we're going to use the massive European uppercut, wham, to win the match against old Eddie Kingston. And just like everybody said, good match. Wheeler's getting better. It's a lot of SM getting those extra matches in on ROH and kind of getting a lot more time with a lot of people that are a lot more, what's the word, seasoned, as we like to say, and veterans, if you will. So I'm glad he's getting that in, and I'm glad Eddie is still and will probably be for a long time my second favorite wrestler on AEW. He just is. Anybody that can talk to what he does and wrestle with the heart he shows is always going to be big in my book. But that's all for me, Yellow Boy.
Really, not much else to add. I just found it like just brutal. The the choke that Shibata had on Yuta at the end, it was just so quick, so sudden, just locked it in. He was standing on the apron at the tag position, and Yuta just finds his way over there, and Shibata, without just any hesitation, just locks it in on him. It was so quick and sudden, but as sudden as that was, the conclusion of the match was even more sudden with that European uppercut from Claudio to Eddie. And there's really a good picture that I seen on either X, formerly known as Twitter, or somewhere where Eddie is just upset. Like he's just sitting in the middle of the ring with Shibata, and Shibata's kind of consoling him. But in the background, you can see the celebration from Claudio and Willa Yuta, where they're just, it just tells the story about where Eddie is. He may be the New Japan Strong champion or whatnot, but he's still not getting his one up on Claudio Castagnoli. So the rivalry still continues between them. Eventually, he's going to have to get his hands on Claudio in a one-on-one and just go to war with him. Like it just has to happen at some point. Where that'll happen, who knows? It could be at Wrestle Dream. We don't know. But that leads us into which I believe Hogs Wars alluded to earlier as possibly being a match of the night, if I'm not mistaken. The Konosuke Takeshita with Don Callis versus Kenny Omega in his trunks that he hasn't worn since his days in DDT, which OHB had brought up when he had came out. Immediately said those are looks like when he wrestled in DDT. And this, I expected nothing less from this match. When you have Kenny Omega and then you have the rising star who is Konosuke Takeshita, like Takeshita is a big dude, number one. Like he big dude hits hard. We already know that Kenny Omega is known as the best bout machine, but they did some stuff. I want to talk about that blue thunder bomb from the top rope, that avalanche blue thunder bomb. Me and OHB both like said we don't think that we've seen that before. It was, I mean, and then the way that Kenny Omega landed, Konosuke Takeshita hit the Blue Thunder Bomb on Kenny Omega, and Omega landed on Takeshita's boot, like kind of landed on his boot and fell. Like, and the amount of forearms and chops and just poison Rana, V triggers, both men, V triggers, and just eating. Oh my God. And German suplex, which almost folded Kenny's neck, like on the X-ray off of Mortal Kombat X. Where they hit them X-rays, you could just see crunch on that. I thought Kenny Omega was done at some point in the match, but he was able to roll through. As OHB and Hogs Wars had pointed out to me, he was able to roll through it. But it I made the joke that both of these guys were looking for Uncle Dave Meltzer to give them all the stars for their match because it definitely was. Sorry, Sean Ross Sapp, got to steal it. It was a pumper. It was a slapper. Whatever you want to call this match, you might want to go out of your way to watch this match. But I'll kick it over to the one and only Hogs Wars. Hogs Wars, what'd you get from the match, man?
Just stiff, just
Giggity.
stiff. New Japan. Give me everything you got. We gonna try to be the best bout machine we can. Just all out, just war, and it's so well, man. It's just just beastly. It really was just beastly. And I'm gonna shoot OHB to go ahead say the ending for us.
I mean, I ain't telling y'all that. That's on the Patreon for y'all. Bulls. Yuck. No, so Don Callis tried to kill Kenny Omega with a screwdriver in the match for real. He stuck it
Yes.
into the corner. And then there was a little bit of things go down where Takeshita was getting V triggered in the back of his dome. He snatched the screwdriver and Kenny was gonna go for the one wing angel, and we're like, okay, he's gonna tap him in the forehead with it, and it's gonna be a wrap. But Paul Turner saw it, snatched the screwdriver out of his hand, but he rolled through it. There's a little bit of play here and there. Kenny Omega took a couple of his own move, the V trigger, from Takeshita, but what ultimately ended it for him was when Takeshita pulled that knee pad down with that exposed knee, hit him with one last one, and blasted his whole brain bucket all the way over thing like JFK City, baby. and it was a wrap. Kenny Omega went down 1, 2, 3 to an exposed knee V trigger. So, having said that, tremendous work on Omega for putting Takeshita over. And like I said, in the next 10 years, you're going to see an IWGP champion out of Takeshita because he's doing all his work. He's getting that Okada skills in there. He's learning how to work all the crowds all over the world. And that's the thing that you see in Japanese wrestling that you don't see everywhere else as they go and they learn everybody else's style. And he's definitely got it because he knows he's a heel and he got the heat that he needed throughout the match. So, like I said, Takeshita's going to be a name on the radar here in a few years. And if you don't believe it, like, I don't know what to tell you because you ain't watching the product we watching. Anyway, Takeshita goes over with that bare knee V trigger. Game over, wrap. Kenny Omega takes the L. It's not usual for him, but the match was a slapper. It slapped everywhere around. Even slapped the sausage from Wamplers. Yeah, baby. So what you got, Yellow? What's going on next?
So next match um, is the penultimate match on the card, which was the 8-man tag between FTR, the Young Bucks, and the Bang Bang Gang, the Bullet Club Gold, Jay White, I was about to say the Honeycomb Monster, Rock Hard Juice Robinson, and Colton and Austin Gunn that make up the back. Look, man, I keep talking about these guys. These are the stars of Collision, or have been the stars of Collision in the past few weeks. Like they make that show. Like with the work that Juice Robinson has been doing on that show, whatnot. Like if you watch Collision on a regular basis on Saturdays and you see one of their matches, you may not see Juice Robinson, but you show as you know what hear him because he is yelling the entire match. It makes it so much fun. And then he just sells. He sells for everyone and he does his job. And from what I understand, Juice Robinson has zero, zero social media. So he has no idea what fans are saying about him. He thinks that, and this is aggregated, he thinks that fans dislike the work that he does because he has no idea how he's impacting folks watching Collision. And they have got to in the addition of the guns, which who would have thought the guns of all folks would make a good addition to Bullet Club in AEW, and it just works. Anywho, with saying that as well, FTR and the Young Bucks. Now, I said it earlier, the Young Bucks got booed, but they're also like 50-50. It was Young Bucks being booed and Young Bucks getting Young Bucks chance and the Elite chance. And there was some CM Punk chance during this match or whatnot, but I think the team of FTR and the Young Bucks, as Hogsworth had said when we were watching it, I think they kind of won over the fans, and like the fans just started to just cheer for them. Like it was just like towards the end of it, it was like no more boo to the Young Bucks. It was, hey, this match ain't that bad. Let's cheer for all of them because Hogsworth said FTR and the Young Bucks work very well together. Their chemistry is amazing on camera. They seemingly, I guess, they've wrestled each other so much in the past they just know each other pretty much and can kind of seamlessly go through and do each other's moves. They can anticipate things. There was a little bit of a botch with, I believe, Nick Jackson doing his moonsault outside the ring. You know, he does that X-Pac seated not Bronco Buster, but face mash, and then he jumps out of the ring and does the moonsault. Well, Juice Robinson was a little bit too close and it looked kind of weird because I don't know if Nick Jackson had hit his face or something like that. And Matt Jackson went out to go check on him. But man, this match it was good. Like, I mean, I wouldn't put it up there with the previous match. And at first we thought that it was going to be like, you know, it's going to be the palate cleanser match. It was going to be that kind of because it kind of started off real slow, but it ramped up. And of course, all the people that were involved are absolute professionals. And regardless of what was going on with the CM Punk stuff, they still went out there and was able to put on a really great match, and not going to spoil the end because I'm gonna give it over to OHB and let him talk about what he thought about the match.
Man, this right off the rip, this match got crazy. But for me, the thing that I really was impressed with was the synergy that FTR and the Bucks had, because all of them were like adding in things to each other's finishing maneuvers throughout the match to where it was seamless. There wasn't no, hey, there was a few nods like, hey, you want me to do this, but it wasn't like long and drawn out. So like FTR, they hit the big boy, the what's that they call it, the what's
Shatter
their
Machine.
finish? Shatter Machine. They did it, but it was Matt Jackson in there instead of Cash because some things happened. He got rolled out, and then there was a time where FTR was going to go for the spot pile driver, and Cash got knocked out, and then again he rolled in there, and then he was like, "Yeah, I got you," and then they went in there and they folded, dude. Which anytime I see an FTR match, I need to see Dax pile drive somebody. I don't care how it is. I just love that pile driver he does. It's just so old school. But not to take anything from the Bullet Club Gold or the Gun Club or BG or whatever you want to call them.
Bang bang
Yeah,
gang.
the Bang Bang Gang, bang bang. They got it down, man. Even with Austin and Colton, which Colton kind of plays the you know, I don't know what's going on here, and Austin's the one that takes most of the L's for the crew. They did a good job, man, and like there's a reason why they getting such a high prominent feature on that show because they're so good. Jay White comes in there, does Jay White stuff, and Juice, he's the Flavor Flav of the group, man. That guy comes in and hypes everything up, even though he's got them saggy drawers. It's okay though, because like we said, he has to have him saggy drawers because the juice is loose, ain't it? Hogs Wars, what you think about that? Yo,
Another good match. Glad it didn't suck because we've gotten so used to once, the Kenny Omega match or the Young Bucks match ends. Hey, here goes this boring match that we all have to watch before the main event kicks in. So glad it ended up being them, so it wasn't a bad match, and just glad the team that got over did surprisingly. Yellow boy.
So there was a couple of spots in there. There was a spot where all the protagonists, if you will, FTR Young Bucks, had every member of the Bang Bang Gang in a sharpshooter in the middle of the ring, and all of them were holding out hands and stuff like that. Really good spot. Then they all got put out. And like OHB said, they were switching out each other for each other's moves. There was a BTE trigger with Dax and I think Matt, um, where he did a BT. We're about to do a BTE trigger, but the conclusion of this match was um, there was some chaos going on. People were in and out. The legal man was, I believe, the legal men were Cash Wheeler and Colton Gunn, and Jay White was able to sneak in and immediately hit a Blade Runner on Cash, and Colton just jumps in and gets the pin, gets the cover for the Bang Bang Gang to get the W. But I think a little bit of it, because if you've watched All In, the FTR Young Bucks match, the FTR after winning went to go shake the hands of, or excuse me, flip. The Young Bucks went to shake FTR's hands. No, I was right. FTR went to shake the Young Bucks' hands. They walked out. Wednesday night on Dynamite, the reverse happened. Young Bucks tried to shake FTR's hands. They walked out. So there's that friction that's still going on, even though they had their rubber match at All In. There's still a little bit of friction that's there. I don't know how it's going to go now that the Young Bucks can now finally work on Saturday nights. Who knows what that's going to do? But again, Bang Bang Gang, Bullet Club Gold got the win. They still need to be elevated on Collision. Jay White's doing a lot of great work. Juice Robinson's doing great work, and the Guns are doing well for the role that they're in. So great match leads us to the main event, which debatable when you see it on paper. Why is this a main event? It's the International Championship with the champion Orange Cassidy versus John Moxley. They had the Goldberg style entrances where they were watching them come in from the back, Orange Cassidy with Best Friends and Chris Statlander. and of course John Moxley coming from the back with the BCC. Um, I don't know what to make of Brian Danielson at this point because he was playing up the crowd during his match with Ricky Starks like a babyface, but he's still coming out with the BCC, which are a heel group at this point. So we had talked about it before, where Brian Danielson is just Brian Danielson. Whether that's you perceive him as a heel or not, he said when he made his arrival to the AEW that he was going to kick the what out of people's effing heads, and that's what he does. Like regardless if it's a baby face or a heel, he's just going to kick the SH1T out of people's effing heads. So this match, funny enough, John Moxley did not bleed. Surprisingly enough, John Moxley didn't bleed, but oh my God, did Orange Cassidy bleed in this match?
Man,
That was freshly squeezed for real. He was freshly squeezed. In fact, because of how descriptive, and I like how OHB does descriptions on stuff, I'll let OHB talk about some of this and how squeezed Orange Cassidy was in this match.
buddy. So like right off the rip, when he got busted open, I said he must be on some aspirin or something because he is squirting out there, and I don't mean to say that in
Yeah.
such an OnlyFans way, but
All
he
right.
was. He never stopped bleeding the whole entire time, like buckets of blood. Like there's a few times where he even got pile drove in the middle of the ring by John Moxley, and you saw the little spot on the mat where he got just dropped down on his head, dude. It was crazy how much he bled. He always constantly stayed like OC does, the underneath baby face trying to come back. But I mean, I was really super surprised by him. I mean, he went out there and he was Vegematic, Juice-O-Matic, whatever on his face. It was bad news. Like I was like, man, that guy. I mean, I don't know if y'all ever bled like that. I've never personally, but I would imagine it takes a toll on you physically and on your endurance when your body's trying to fight. Oh, you're cut open. We're trying to sort this, but it wasn't sorting him. He was all over the place with the blood. But he got in there and he gave John Moxley all John Moxley could take because I thought it was going to be a normal John Moxley match where he runs roughshod all over him, and that didn't happen. But I don't know what else to add to that. Maybe Hogs Wars has a couple of 2 cents he wants to throw in, even though he's no account. Yo,
this guy here. Uh, First off, I'm really proud of Orange Cassidy. People have dogged him a lot on different podcasts, on social media, saying he's nothing but a joke wrestler. Why does he put his hands in his pocket? What is he doing? What is this fake kick crap? All these things. And literally in different moments of the match, he did every single one of these things, but turned it up a notch. He did his little, short kicks, and then all of a sudden starts stomping them, mud hole in the guy. He was put his hands in his pocket, but only after John Moxley tried to mock him and do it himself. Talking about you're not hitting me hard enough with these elbows. You got to hit me harder than that. And the fight that guy shows through all this, adversity he's been going through, his whole body's beat up. He's got, you know, that stretchy tape all over his body. He's got the goddamn hand wrapped up from where he supposedly broke his hand. I mean, it's just so he's beating the heck up and he's got so much heart. He's still coming. That really impresses me with this guy.
giggity.
But all good things must come to an end. But before it did, one thing I was like, and if you know, the paradigm shift is like one of the most protected moves in wrestling today, period. And for the first time I know in a long time, somebody kicked out of it. And to see Orange Cassidy kick out of that was just amazing. But you can't keep, thinking you're going to get away with more than one of those. And so, of course, he's on his last legs. He's wobbly. He's, looking crazy. And he finally, flips in the bird. Like, what are you going to do? And of course, that's like, chum in the water for a shark like Moxley. Let me give you even higher one. Puts him down, 1, 2, 3. And now you got Moxley is that international champion. But in the same token, he goes out there and celebrates with Brian and all the crew. So gonna be interesting how this goes. Yellow boy.
So yeah, so it the variation of John Moxley's move. So just the regular double arm short DDT is the paradigm shift, but when he adds the extra high angle, it's the Death Rider that he normally had done in New Japan, and he hit the Death Rider and the paradigm shift on Orange Cassidy, which he kicked out of. But that last Death Rider was a very high angle and just kind of speared Orange Cassidy into that canvas or whatnot. But Orange Cassidy, like you said, Hogs Wars has received a lot of negative press about his wrestling style and all of that. And like the man held this international championship, which kind of held more prestige than arguably the world championship because the man held it for 326 days and on a weekly basis, with the exception of maybe a couple of weeks here and there, he defended it. Like, and not to like Mickey Mouse people, enhancement talent and stuff like that. It was top names and stuff like that on, I mean, regardless if it was on Rampage or Dynamite or whatnot, he defended it and kind of laid to rest some of the critics that were out there saying, talking about his wrestling style. But regardless if his injuries are shoot or work, the guy's got to be tired. And it was good to see at the end of the match, like instead of having the winner stay in the ring and take all the adulation, Moxley went to celebrate with the BCC and left a bloodied Orange Cassidy in the middle of the ring, and the crowd cheered him and thanked him. It almost gave off because we all were like kind of asking ourselves, is he quitting? Is this the end of his contract or anything? But we all kind of came to the consensus that this may be just a break for him because he's held onto that championship. So he needs some well-deserved rest. And if you guys out there watching, remember, if you watch AEW, Moxley was supposed to take a break a while back until, the stuff happened with All Out last year. And him and Brian Danielson had to step up, and he just kind of forewent that vacation. Eventually, that man's gonna have to take a vacation because you can't just be stabbing people in the head with a fork all the time for every week in a row, without a vacation. But I digress, as Taz would say. Really decent show. For what they had to work with, I think they did a really good job of putting on a good show for All Out. Me personally, I wouldn't recommend next year, even though Tony Khan in the media scrums has said he's going to. I wouldn't back to back weekend the pay per views. I know in his mind and what he wanted to do, he wanted to have a bundle for the pay per views for those who were purchasing pay per view through television and whatnot, but it didn't work out. But still, you're saturating your market with having back to back shows, and you're doing All In again in Wembley next year. Lord knows what's going to happen with if they're going to have the same 81,000 that they did this year, and then you're going to plan to do All Out the next weekend. That's going to be hard for a lot of wrestling fans to kind of shell out money, whether they're going in person or they're watching on TV. That's just asking for a lot from folks, unless you can give a real sharp discount to those who are going to watch it. Still, it's just a lot of wrestling, and because AEW doesn't build their pay-per-views, they just kind of last minute puts their pay-per-views together. That's also going to not eventually you're not going to have that interest from your fan base. You already are, AEW is it's niche, but it's not. You're going to kind of move that fan base a little bit further, by doing that back to back. That's just my opinion. But anyway, I'm rambling. Good show. Anything else you guys want to add to this show? I know we
Just
got
just more women's matches. So go on to the next thing.
Yeah, we're
So
gonna
I know
talk
we're
about the
gonna.
next thing, but before you do that, I gotta take a break because I'm an old man. I got to
Well,
go see a man about a dog.
You go ahead and do that, and I will go ahead and I will go through and talk about Payback. I can go through a couple of these matches quickly while you go and do that. So I know Hogs Wars, you said you looked at some of the results and stuff. So if you have anything that you want to add to some of these matches, then feel free to. If not, I'm going to zoom through as quickly as possible because we're already past an hour on the show or whatnot. And you good people, you people who are watching the show right now, we appreciate you. Also, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Make sure that you're following us on all of our socials. We each individually have socials. You see some of it scattered around down below me here and over there. You see a couple of them. You can find us all over Twitch, TikTok, YouTube. You're already on Instagram, uh, Twitter, now X. So, but yeah. So yesterday, WWE had their payback WWE Payback in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. It was 6 matches on the card plus a Grayson Waller effect segment. We learned on Friday that John Cena was hosting. So we come out the gate, and the first match on the card is a steel cage match with Becky Lynch versus Trish Stratus. And quite honestly, a lot of folks arguably say that this is the best match on the show. Both women did their absolute best. Trish Stratus, God bless her, because she caught a lot of flack for previous matches, and it was already argued at the fact that they didn't have their SummerSlam match, and it was pushed back to that following Raw, and then the Raw match happened, and it wasn't really good. So there were skeptics on how well this match would be, but both women did their absolute best. That Trish Stratus literally threw herself into all these moves to sell it. If you see the post match and post PLE pictures, you will see that she's bruised up. She's got look like she got in a fight with Mike Tyson or Buster Douglas because her forehead has a large contusion on it. There's just many moments of the match that can be pointed out, but I'll point out like towards the conclusion of the match where they were climbing the cage and Trish Stratus, we thought that Trish Stratus was going to break her MCL, ACL, LCL, and all of that because she was dangling upside down at the top of the cage by her knees. And she was brought back in by Becky into a superplex from the top rope from off the cage and just brought down. Of course, even though it was a cage match and supposedly keep people out, Zoe Starks still was able to get in and cause a disturbance. But the pinfall came down to Becky Lynch hitting a avalanche, a manhandle slam for the win. And then post match, you had the fallout between Zoe Stark and Trish Stratus. Does this mean that Trish Stratus is now completely done? She's got her run in or whatnot? I don't know. I haven't heard anything about it, but she definitely put in. I will give her all the flowers because she did not have to do what she did in that match, and she still did put her body on the line to make that match a whole lot better than their previous matches. Anybody got anything else to add to that? Like I said, I kind of ran through it.
Just this match of the night did not suck. And I'm glad that they finally have this thing done in a way between her and Zoe because that thing is stretched a little too far. Next.
Yeah. So then we got a segment with, hey, there's the SAG AFTRA strike going on, so I ain't got nothing to do, so I'm gonna go back to WWE for a few months. John Cena coming out with his cosplay of Gulf Gasoline outfit now. So he comes out to pump the crowd up, of course, tell them about, being the host and well, I can't host. I don't know how to host. And he comes out and also says that he's going to be the guest referee for the LA Knight Miz match. Of course, that brings out the Miz, and they back and forth because of the fact that I don't know, you hosted before. I don't know how to host. You can't see it. All that good stuff. Um, yeah, it was basically to put over the fact that he was going to be the guest referee for the Miz and LA Knight match, which then brings out LA Knight. They
Yeah.
have their match. Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
let me talk. Let me talk to you.
Let me
Yeah,
talk to you.
let me talk
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
you. I mean, I don't know. I'll ask you, OHB. Um, it wasn't a technical wrestling match, but they sports entertained the crowd that was there. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So, because I mean, Eli Drake slash LA Knight, not the most flashiest, not, he's not going to wow you with all his wrestling prowess at this point in time. And we all know Miz is the most safest worker ever. So they did what they needed to do for that crowd because the crowd is very hot for LA Knight. And in the end, BFT, blunt force trauma to the Miz, and you have LA Knight as your winner. Very auspicious in the end as he's walking down the ramp with, because in the match there was some snafus between LA Knight and Cena being the referee, which kind of looked as if they were going to have some form of storyline with them, a feud, if you will. But they walk down the ramp together at the end of it, and John Cena gives him the rub by raising his hands. Kind of, it's very familiar to when The Rock, I think that was, what was that, Royal Rumble 2013, when The Rock was in the ring with Roman
Yeah.
Reigns. So it's
Yeah.
2013, and he like, ta-da, this is the guy I'm passing it off to, and that kind of looked like that where he was giving LA Knight the rub, but I don't think LA Knight needed the rub from Cena because he's already completely white hot and he's
Over,
just doing
over,
him.
over.
Very over.
Starshine speed.
Anything to add to that?
No,
Negative.
man. Anybody that hates on the Miz doesn't see what the Miz's role is in WWE at this point. He even came out there and blasted John Cena because he was wearing his golf attire, and he's like, "I came out in a $10,000 suit, and you look like a clown," or whatever he said to him. And then later on, that would come into play, and we'll talk about that when there was a little backstage segment. But there, LA Knight went in there. LA Knight did LA Knight things. There was that little thing back and forth where LA Knight got a little too hot in the corner, and John Cena broke it up. And then him and John Cena looked like they was gonna go to blows. And then John Cena's like, "Okay, man, like keep doing your thing." And yeah, man, this match did what it needed to. The right dude went over because at this point in time, with as hot as LA Knight is, I think if you have him lose to somebody like The Miz, not taking anything away from The Miz, that would hurt his stock. That's
Yeah,
all I
you can
got.
go ahead.
That's all I got.
You can go ahead and talk about the backstage because let's just put it out there for those of you who are watching. We were simultaneously watching both Collision and Payback at the same time. So our attention was going in multiple places at once and still trying to record and report. So you can go ahead and talk about the backstage segment that had happened
So the
between them.
backstage segment that happened at John Cena, you talking about the one with the Judgment Day, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so eventually there was a little segment where John Cena was like, "Am I doing this right, guys?" And he had a suit jacket on, and he still had his golf gas station shirt on underneath, but he had like the little Connors cure. Shout out to that dude. Little logo of the WWE. If you don't know about that, it's their mainstay of the Make a Wish that they were doing, where they support all the kids that are going through cancer and things like this, which they do tremendous work on that, and that's a very noble cause. A little bit better than the Susan G. Komen, in my opinion. Not to take anything away from them, but like do your research on it and you'll see what I'm getting at. Anyway, long story short, he had the suit jacket on there. He did a backstage interview segment with Finn Balor and Damian Priest, which we'll talk about why he was doing that a little bit further in the show. But he was back there talking to him about it, and they were doing their things. Yeah, we're gonna do whatever. Like Finn Balor goes on with, and then Damian Priest said, "Yeah," and then he said, "Good job, kid," to John Cena. He's like, "Back to you," and it was great. John Cena does that job good, man. He's got it.
And the funniest thing about it is he was doing the Tom Phillips crab walk and Kevin Patrick crab walk because John Cena's not a short fellow, and Damian Priest
He
looked like
was.
he
He was down.
towered
He was
over,
down. Yeah, he was down. It was great. It was
and
great.
Finn Balor was like taller than him as well. So, um, yeah. But the next match on the card was product placement. I mean, it was the U.S. title. I say product placement because there was cinnamon toast crunch placement everywhere. The banners behind the ring, the banners on the ring, and the Titantron was lit up with cinnamon toast crunch with those. I don't even know what they call them, the crunch emojis or whatever the crap
I'm
they are.
serious.
The
Boo.
cinemojis, that's what they
Boo.
are. The
Sorry.
cinemojis.
Lame.
But it was Rey Mysterio against Austin Theory, and Austin Theory doesn't get a lot of credit. He's a good wrestler. It's just that the way he's been booked since he got to the main roster has been crap. And it stems from him being the chosen one of Vince McMahon before Vince McMahon got out of power, uh, before all the lawsuits and stuff like that. So, like, they seen him as the next John Cena, but he's booked like he's just the next Brooklyn Brawler. Like, it's he's got all the talent in the world, but um again, this is one of those matches I'm gonna lean on OHB for anything that I just did because again, multitasking, y'all, multitasking. Didn't see a whole bunch of it, but I do know that like they did put on a really good match. Austin Theory was trying to get back his U.S. title. Glad that he's nowhere near it right now. They need to do a revamp of Austin Theory for real, because he needs it. He needs to be booked stronger if they want him to look like someone who's a contender for the U.S. title. But I think the right person won, which was Rey Mysterio and the LWO with the sin emojis in the background or whatnot, which the LWO came out to, or excuse me, for yesterday during the PLE, they were the Pittsburgh World Order, pandering to the crowd. But the LWO came out to celebrate with Rey Mysterio after the win. Any intricate details that you want to add in there, OHB or Hogs Wars for that match?
Hogs, you got anything, man?
Heck no, because let's face it, Rey Mysterio won a match again, doing Rey Mysterio stuff against a guy who was going to go out to try to make him look good so people wouldn't say he's a jerk. In the story. Next.
I mean, like Hogs Wars was extremely succinct with it. That's a tremendous word for Appalachian, y'all. Uh, he went out there and he made Ray look good, and Ray is not like Ray's good, but Ray is also in his twilight.
Mm-hmm.
So going out there doing this and that. The bigger story to be told is like there's going to be a break between him and the LWO at some point in time. And
Yeah.
that was kind of given during the Waller effect whenever he was trying to get them to go. He was trying to
Mhm.
put that animosity seeds in there. But yeah, like Ray goes over doing Ray Mysterio things as he said. That's not to say that Austin didn't put in a good work, but like I said, they're going to have to repackage him to make him a better contender going forward. So,
Rey Mysterio with a moonsault, y'all. As old
yep,
as Ray is,
moonsault.
hit a moonsault during the match. So
With no knees and bad back and everything else. Good job.
Killing a
and
dude
y'all,
in the match.
I knew that was coming because I was just about to allude to it. I was like, he that
Yeah.
that happened. Look it up.
Yeah, you understand what happened there.
Check Google, kids. It
Yeah.
happened. But
Perro Jr., baby. Go ahead.
the next match that came up was tag team match. I really enjoyed this match. I was trying to keep my eyes on, like I said, both Collision and this match, which was Judgment Days, Damian Priest, and Finn Balor, who we already talked about, versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, the undisputed WWE World Tag Team Champions. And it was a Steel City street fight, I believe, for the tag team championships. And they went out there, and I've used this term before in this broadcast, but they sports entertained. And also, even though it's not a WWE thing, KO got bloody. He had a little color to him
Mhm.
out there, and I'm like, WWE doesn't do this, but seeing as how they was beating the dog crap out of each other, I said dog crap, beating the dog crap out of each other, like you know, and they went. It wasn't just relegated to the ring; it was in the ring, out in the crowd, by the stage, and they they, as in Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, they pandered to your local sports team by putting on some Penguins jerseys. Um,
Nice,
Lemieux, um,
nice.
did they were they both wearing Lemieux jerseys, or were they wearing different jerseys? OHB.
I don't remember, to be honest with you. I only
I mean,
saw in prominence KO's jersey, and he definitely had the Mew on.
yeah,
Sammy probably had on see it, but anyway, moving on.
yeah. And they did a impromptu hockey fight um with what's that boy name? Dom Dom, ex-con Dom.
Econ
Uh,
Dominic.
because they had hockey sticks and gloves and everything for the deal. There was a moment in this match where KO was in the crowd and had, I believe, was it Finn on the table or
Oh,
was
it's
it
Dom.
Damien? It was Dom. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was because they took Dom out. He had Dom on the table below ECW like Hammerstein like
Hmm.
where he did a swanton senton and basically got only a fourth of his body on Dom and basically his
Hmm.
leg and butt on the ground, concrete floor, which looked horrible to take. I'm not a
Hmm.
pro wrestler, but that looked horrible to take. I mean, it broke the table, which they didn't have an I am the table moment, but it looked just absolutely horrible. But even though he took that bump, the MVP of the night, the entire night, not just this match, the entire night for Judgment Day is Dominic Mysterio. Because that man paid dividends to the conclusion of this match. But not only did KO wreck his pelvis or his tailbone, his coccyx. It's probably all kinds of crack down there. He also got
Giggity.
a right. He also got a spear for his trouble from Mommy. Mommy speared him through
Barricade.
the
Yeah.
barricade over by the announcers and the ring bell. Um, but the numbers game just added up too much to KO and Sammy, in which we have new, undisputed WWE World Tag Team Champions in Damian Priest and Finn Balor. Also, let's not forget that JD McDonough came out there. I was about to call him McDonuts again. JD McDonough came out there and played a role, but for his trouble, he got pop-up power bomb into the announce table that did not give, and he looked like the letter C across that daggone table because his back and spine just curved around it, and it looked horrible to take. So he's still doing his tryouts for the Judgment Day, seeing as how his initials are JD McDonough instead of the Jordan Devlin that he came into WWE with, the life-size bobblehead toy that he is. Um, but yeah,
big
so
forehead boy.
big head boy, big head mode. Take him off of the NBA Jam big head mode. But
He's on
Judge,
fire.
Judgment Day so far, they they were looking good. Now ex Condom didn't have a match on the show, but he is the NXT North North American champion. Rhea Ripley later in the show had to defend her world championship against Raquel Rodriguez, but Judgment Day getting new gold in those tag team belts. Anything you want to add? Like I said, I'm just kind of
Nope.
flying through this. Cool. Next, Grayson Waller effect. Don't understand why they had to have this on the show. Could have been something they could have done on Friday Night SmackDown as they normally do. Like the guest on the show was the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. He came out, did his Cody Rhodes stuff. I popped OHB by singing my version of the Cody Rhodes song. He comes out there, he tells Grayson Waller that his show is not different than any other shows they had on there, and he listed off some shows with some obvious omissions, like Chris Jericho show, the Peep show. Anybody that's in AEW, he didn't mention them. Cody Rhodes talks about how he's going to subvert what the normal expectation of someone being on the talk show is by bringing someone else out. And he said he pulled some strings and used his clout backstage to bring someone to Raw. And that someone is the same person that not too long ago caused him all kinds of grief and trying to attain what his daddy never got and kept him preventing him from getting that championship. And that's Jay Uso going to Raw from SmackDown. So they really are trying to do this thing where they're splitting the brothers up. If y'all remember way back in the early 2000s, what they did with the Dudleys, with Bubba Ray and Devon Dudley. So they're doing that now. Whether or not they're going to keep them separated all the way to WrestleMania season, like Royal Rumble, who knows? But we just know that Jay Uso is now a member of the Raw roster. He ended up going into the ring and super kicking Grayson Waller, and that was the end of the segment. Why he had to be there. Of course, he got the crowd pumped and they all doing their hands and stuff like that. Whatever. Anything to add?
Yeah, man, his theme song is no longer got
Yes.
Jimmy in it. Yeah, so that's the thing. Like his whole thing, he still has the day one ish stuff, but he's like, oh, I got it. Like you could tell. Like just listen to the words of it. It's just him, and the things he's saying centered around him. So that's the only thing I have to add.
Yeah, he said it's all me now. Instead of
Yep.
But
and
Jimmy's theme, man, Jimmy's theme slaps. Man, just to throw that out there. Man, I was sitting there
It disappeared,
like
right?
what? Like
Man went back to the future on that cut.
right, like went away, came back. And yeah, that was
Hey
pretty cool.
man, y'all mispronouncing Jimmy's name because if y'all seen that faux pas that the production team did on SmackDown, his name is Jimmy. It's not Jimmy, it's Jimmy.
Jimmy.
3 M's.
That
Um,
Jimmy.
Jimmy.
That
Jimmy.
Jimmy. Jimmy.
Um, but the next match on the show was Rhea Ripley versus Raquel Rodriguez for the WWE Women's World Championship, and the crowd could not give a toss about this match. Um, OHB made the observation. He was like, they're showcasing Raquel's back, but her back is smaller than Rhea's back. Rhea's more jacked than, yeah, that's what I said. You said that. OHB, you said, and he's like, that's not, why are we acting as if Rhea's not bigger than Raquel? Like, whatever.
My back
Um,
bigger.
you know what I mean? It's
Hey,
it,
it's
it's
okay.
her gimmick. Yeah, it's her gimmick. Whatever. She came out there. I was like, we're just gonna forget that she came out in NXT with chaps and all of that, and Texas Longhorns the whole way and everything. Whatever, dude.
MAGA.
Um, keep on moving.
Well, Westcott came out as a cheerleader.
Yeah.
We got rid of that too. So hey,
Yeah, but you,
repackage.
th- there were some botches. There were definitely some slow moments, but I know that Rhea needs to have more defenses of this title to make her reign more legitimate. Because right now she's just Dom side piece and just a member of Judgment Day. You don't really look at her as the women's world champion. And Raquel, yes, she's got a back. I mean, I can't even say a big back. She's got a back. And, you know, I know that they had a friendship when they were down in NXT, and that friendship kind of came up with them and all that. But, you know, Prism Lock looked cool. Um, and the MVP showed up to do MVP things, which was ex-con Dom, because he didn't initially come out with Rhea, but he came out later on to give enough distraction for Rhea to hit the um what was her move?
Riptide.
Yes, the Riptide, so that she can mount Raquel like she's mounted everyone else that she's pinned with them legs pent back. I'm like, if Rhea Ripley knows exactly what she's doing and she panders to the simps that she knows she's doing it for, like, yeah. she knows she knows who she's doing it for.
I won't deny it.
I'm a straight rider. You don't want to
You don't want to
with me.
with me. Boom, boom, boom,
Yes.
boom.
Anyway,
Let's get ready to rumble. you know,
ding ding ding.
but with what Dom's helped out with, it's given the Judgment Day the ability to have all the gold, including Finn Balor being a Grand Slam champion. He's
Yep.
held every title in WWE, which amazing for Finn. Um, Damian Priest has the Money in the Bank briefcase. Rhea's got the World Women's Championship. As I said, Dom's got the North American. So they're on top of the world. I'm waiting to see what JD McDonough's is going to do to throw a wrench in all of that. Anything to add to that?
No, like that's straight, dude. I
Next.
Yeah.
mean, like he is really hamming up that lie, cheat, steal life though. That's it.
Yeah. Seeing as how the bloodline is no longer a thing, they just taken in that role where, that control V or control C, control V. That's what we're doing. Like the same thing that we were doing with the bloodline. Now they just kind of control C, control V with Judgment Day. Got a screwy finish. Referee. It's not a referee bump in this one, but it's referee distraction. And, somebody from Judgment Day does something to get the win. But next match. Um, at the main event. Were we at the main
Yeah,
event?
yeah, we
Yeah, we
had
at
it.
the main event. Man, I
Yeah.
ran through that joint.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did. You ran all the
Man,
way through it, man. You ran through it like
Yeah.
Bill Goldberg did the 7,000 matches he had before he didn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Who's
So the
next?
main event, Seth freaking Rollins, the world heavyweight champion versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Um,
Still.
Absolutely love Nakamura's entrance stuff, like that anime manga kind of deal that they were doing on the Titan Prime and stuff like that. Really, really dope. Love the presentation. I, I'm upset though that they leaned into Nakamura and this heelish side this late. Like
Yeah.
he needed more build of it because like prior to this, he was just trading pinfalls with Champa and Bronson Reed. That's what he was involved in. He goes from that to a championship match. So like I don't think anybody that was in attendance or watching at home really thought that Nakamura was going to win. I mean, there was a chance there, but I don't think that anybody really just, you know, because of where he was at and then where they placed him at or whatnot. But as Hogsworth said, it was very, very stiff match, but of course it's that strong style that Nakamura is used to. I will say that when we were watching OHB, they cut and showed who did they show out in the crowd? Because they certainly said it was somebody else. Who did they show out there in the crowd watching along?
No, I don't remember.
A, le- a legend that recently retired and had their last match with Shinsuke Nakamura.
He starts with
Oh, it was
great.
the Great Muda, but it wasn't the Great Muda. It was Kiji Muto because the Great Muda got all that regalia on. This just Kiji Muto. He had his ball cap on. He talking about. He said, "These jokers even talking about me." Yeah, they said that Shinsuke Nakamura took him to school, and I'm surprised they ain't led into it because if y'all know anything about that match, he kind of Shinsuke kind of like took the mist in from Muda and then took it back out to him, and that's how he ended up winning. So that was like
Mhm.
a passing of the torch to him, and then it's been absolutely squandered. But it's whatever, man. Like, what a way to show that dude's legacy that you inducted to the Hall of Fame last year. The worst. Nothing else. Nakamura should have used the mist in this match. Yo,
Yeah, he should
Big
have.
D. We getting a Big
Um,
D in the comment. Yo, baby, Big D.
Big D, what's going on? Appreciate you coming in, showing some love. Make sure you follow us and everything, Big D. Let us know what you think about Payback or what you thought about tonight's All Out because we
I
talked
think I
about
think I
All
think
Out.
Big D might be a bot, but it's okay.
Yeah, we take the box.
We
Make sure you
allow we like the AI around here, man. We don't shun it.
our AI overlords are soon going to take us over anyway. So praise the bots.
That's it.
But
Humans are the sword that sword themselves.
come with me if you want to live. Nah,
Oh,
we,
great.
we have fun here. But yeah, the match was focused solely on the whole ordeal that, or supposedly focused on the fact that Seth Rollins has a chronically injured back, but he's still doing moves and stuff to an extent that dealt with his back. You know what I mean? He still did like a frog splash. There was the moment where he was going to do the superplex into the Falcon
Falcon
Arrow, and
Arrow.
instead,
Yeah.
instead he did the Rana. It's a Frankensteiner. So he did the Frankenstein from the top
White
rope
trash.
and landed on his side and his hip. Um, Again, Nakamura focused in on back with knee strikes and kicks to the back of the head, back to his back. Um, I'm thinking I'm missing some things because again, I was thinking a lot more interested in what was going on other places, and plus I was drinking too. So it was a match, y'all. Like
Hmm.
the right person won, I think, to because you can always continue this feud with Nakamura and Seth because what's the next pay per view? Is the next pay per view? Well, I know they have that special in India, but it's not going to be televised. So after that, I guess it's Survivor Series.
Yeah.
Is that the next thing? So
No,
Yeah,
man,
it's
that'd be,
one.
that'd
It's
be
one. It's one before that, but I forgot what the name is right
yeah,
now.
because I mean that's in November usually. Survivor Series around
Yeah, that's
Thanksgiving,
it's one
so
that's in
they're gonna
October. I
be
forgot what
yeah
the name
they're
of
gonna be
it is.
one more. They'll have this
so the
September jant in India, like you said, and then they'll have one in October. I just don't know what it is yet. Stay tuned to all
is
you
it Roadblock?
WWE programming. It might
Yeah, that's
be.
what it is.
It's
Yeah.
Roadblock. So they
Roadblock.
have Roadblock and then on to Survivor Series. So they can keep this going. Also, forgot to mention backstage segment that happened in between something with Becky Lynch and Tiffany Stratton. Looks
Yeah.
like Becky Lynch, as reported, is
Whew.
going to go down to NXT and somebody throw some ice water on OHB for Tiffany Stratton. Um,
That's the real
cool them
Barbie,
down,
y'all.
cool them down. But it looks like she's going to go through a campaign with Tiffany Stratton down there in NXT. After her faux pas of saying that she was better than all the former NXT Women's Champions, and then listed Bailey, Asuka, and Becky Lynch, which and Charlotte Flair, and knowing that Becky Lynch never won the championship in NXT, so
Womp
it brought
womp.
on a good little exchange on Twitter X, and now it's going to culminate into them having some form of campaign in NXT. But back to the match at hand, the main event. Seth Rollins retains his World Heavyweight Championship against Nakamura. Again, like I said, I don't know where this is going to put both of them. Maybe they'll continue to feud. I don't really see anybody else at this point that's in that role for the main event with Seth Rollins. Plus, on top of that, the fans look like they really wanted a cash in to happen. Like they lingered in the ring after everything had was said and done, and it was like, well, maybe they're going to do a cash in with Damian Priest. Never happened. It just the show closed and whatnot. They did the recap thing, so um, I don't know. They got to build somebody else up in there, and it may be that uh, Jay Uso may, since he's there now, brand split, LOL, because you got LA Knight facing Miz, you got Jay going to Raw. Heck, you may have Cody going to SmackDown. Who knows? So yeah,
Point of order, but
yes,
while it's on my mind, they did one of these WWE exclusives after all the other stuff was shown,
yeah,
where as Rollins is trying to walk back to the ring, Shinsuke jacks him up from behind again, hits
yeah,
him in his back again. So
Ah, I didn't
that's
see that.
basically like you were saying. That's basically their behind the scenes way to come on Monday and say, "Look what Shinsuke did. How dare he do that after he lost? How dare he? Or whatever." Michael Coles will come up with this week. So that's their
yeah.
segue.
After the camera stopped rolling in Pittsburgh, yeah, he attacked him after everything. So looks like it may be continuing. Cool. That's all I got to say. Cool. Like that works. Whatever, dude. OHB, anything to add?
Man, I don't give a yo, baby.
You don't give
So
a Terry Funk.
I thought the end of it was great, man. Like there was like a little convoluted thing where they were doing little roll ups, and then Shinsuke Nakamura got him in a roll up, or our boy the Drip King got him in a roll up. Well, he rolled out of it, and Shinsuke wasn't as quick to his feet, got curb stomped. I thought that was just a cool little segment, man. I didn't see that coming, so yeah, but like you said, man, Shinsuke Nakamura kind of just got thrown into this match. They worked it up real quick over the few little weeks from the last show, and you're like, what? Because he literally
Yeah,
was not even in contention for anything, and then all of a sudden he's thrown into the world title picture. Like, what is happening with y'all? That's lazy booking on the big fat WWE. And
Lazy.
I don't care who's in charge, if it's Dana White or if it's Walt Disney. Yuns do better, baby. Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm
so
done talking about it.
there may be something because apparently they're waiting until the merger actually goes into play before they do any cuts or any real because they've hired some people. From what I understand, I'm aggregating here. I'm not making this report. This is just an aggregation. They've hired a few wrestlers already, but because they were on a halt or a hiring freeze due to the merger, they're not bringing in these wrestlers. So it was reported other places that the authors of pain are already there on the roster. They're just waiting to be. And we know that before they were let go from WWE, they had something. They were doing something with Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins had his little crew or whatnot, so that could be brought back up. It could be something to where they attack Seth Rollins now, and they're under the guidance of Nakamura and Paul Ellering, or they may just be back in NXT with Paul Ellering. Who knows? And then Kyrie Sane is supposed to come back at some point, so they're waiting until the merger happens, until that comes in, and then of course that may bring in uh, terminations, people being fired. Never like to talk about people being fired and let go from the company, but that
Paul
may bring
Levesque.
that in. He'll still be there.
I know,
Um,
man. He done said if Shane comes back, he's outie.
they,
So
I was told that I seen something or read something that wasn't a real report. That wasn't a real report from anybody. That was actually something that was made up. Yeah.
well,
So
I'm telling you right now, beard, comb, and check that is indeed made up. Yeah.
Yo.
Ooh.
so so yeah, it was. a good weekend of wrestling, a lot of wrestling that's going on. I'll say, final
Big
thoughts:
time.
the fact that in 2023 we have multiple different promotions to pick from for professional wrestling, a sport which we all fell in love with, um, and it's almost at the height that it was at back when it
Monday Night
was the,
Wars.
yes, the greatest era, the Attitude Era, the
Yep.
Monday Night Wars era, whatnot. Please, you guys, I say this all the time. There's three things I always say. I think two things really: more women's matches. Please support women's matches. And
Less than
two,
7 minutes or more than 7 minutes.
yes, more than seven
Hmm.
minutes. Please give them time so that they can do well. And then also, it doesn't matter what company someone works for, man. If you enjoy professional wrestling, just enjoy it. Like, forget where they're at. Just enjoy professional wrestling. OHB.
You're going to say, enjoy professional wrestling. It's the same thing I always say if you follow the Mad Dog Monday and the sips. Whatever beer you decide to drink is the one that you've paid for and you're willing to drink. So, having said that, if you love your wrestling, it don't matter who it is. Show them love. Go on there, like they social media posts, do all these things. If you're even talking about them, tag them in them, because you'd be surprised who comes and hits you with the like back and who might even follow you.
Hmm.
Yeah,
So,
beer.
Hogs Wars.
Uh, Two things. Um, please, please, please put Athena on your freaking main shows. Second, I do like the way AEW has kind of pivoted and done what they need to do. But can we please get more women's wrestling? Okay, I'm done.
Hey man, so you've heard me go on about women's wrestling, and you might be like, "Oh, OHB don't like women's wrestling." I love it, and it's not for the reasons why all you simps out there think I love it, because they
Ah,
go out there and they go. They produce some of the best stuff that's out there, but they ain't given enough time. They don't have enough compelling storylines. Give them more. And if you don't know what that means, go check out Stardom. Go check out all these organizations that's all about women's wrestling. You'll be like, oh my God, they putting in the work. It ain't 1980 no more, y'all. It is 2023 and beyonds going forward. They are the future. And if you don't believe that, then like I still be your friend, but I'm gonna have to agree to disagree. That's all I got to say on it.
check out Stardom. Check out Women of Wrestling. Check out Shimmer. If you don't find anything that's current, go online. You can YouTube some of these old tapes and
Yup.
see some of your favorites out there. Just remember, we went from women that were being objectified and being in uh, bra panties matches and mud matches and stuff like that, to where they're elevated and they're in
Puppies.
Hell in the Cell matches now. They're in prominent matches. These women are out there doing the work so that they can be looked at as equal to the men on the roster. Please support them because it's not an easy sport to participate in. So that's why we harp on it all the time, y'all.
Yeah, man,
Um,
and check out Mommy. Like I know we go on Rhea Ripley all the time for whatever she's got going on, but when she goes in there against a dude, it don't matter who it is. She puts the hurt to him. She's picked up dudes a lot bigger than her, put the yoke to them. I'm just telling you, it's out there. Go and follow it, whether it be whatever you like or don't like. They putting in the work. They should be recognized as big as the men are at this point in stage in the game. They just got it. They got it.
I know this show has gone on. This is a super show, and it's
Super.
gone on longer than what we normally would. So for those of you who watched us the entire time, we appreciate it. If you're watching this on catch up, we thank you so much for choosing to watch us and everything. Continue to support us. We'll continue to try to put programming out there. I know that OHB is doing his Sips and Mad Dog Mondays. That's Mad Dog Mondays, of course, on Mondays, Sips on Thursdays, and or just because it was the summertime, it can be switched around a couple of days. But just put your notifications on YouTube. He'll have Sips and Mad Dog Mondays for you. You can catch Hogs Wars soon, very soon on Twitch. He's going to be gaming on there. So you let him know what games you may be interested in, and he may, just maybe, will try some of the games if you're nice, just maybe. Hit him up, let him know about that. Eventually, I'll be back. I'm doing physical therapy now, so eventually I will be back to doing. I think I'm gonna do something similar to what I was doing before. I'll take all kinds of suggestions from you, the people, you people, to be able to go back to doing my shot of brew or something similar moving forward. So we want to provide you with entertainment, continue to watch us, all that good stuff. It's late, you guys. So yeah, I'm done talking. I'll kick it over to OHB.
Yeah. So you already know if you see on the screen right now over here to the side, you see our links where I'm pointing to is to the YouTube and to our link tree. The link tree is going to have everything you need in your life. And if it ain't, I don't know what to tell you. It's like Google over there. Anything you want to know about the bros, the brews, and the biatches? Ah, yeah, I said that. And then you can check over here. You see the Twitch logos and all that cool Instagrams. Follow us over there and see what's going on. Because if you don't know about wrestling, Yellow Boy is constantly, Hogs Wars is constantly with the Ring of Honor. They putting things on there. You ain't even got to watch the shows to watch the PLE and the pay per views and know what's going on if you follow the page. And if you check out the TikToks, which is also in the link tree over yonder, you'll see if the 2 3 minute sips, the 2 3 minute Mad Dog Mondays ain't for you, then I got 60 seconds on there. I do a real quick thing. I put them up on YouTube too. They come up as shorts where I just go in within a real short time in the real traditional 60 seconds. And I just tell y'all about a beer real quick and then go on about your life. Ain't it? Anyway, other than that, you can find our socials on there as well. I don't know what else to tell you. I don't care what else to tell you because you can get out of my house at this point in time, ain't it? Yeah, baby. Hogs Wars, you got anything else to add to the mix before we leave?
Just follow us on the socials.
Yo,
Check us on Twitch. I'm getting I've figured some things out on the PS5 so we can get on there with different games like Blasphemous 2 and some other things, God of War, things of that nature on the PS5, and then back to the usual on the Xbox. Start what is it? Trying to get my name right. It's not Star Citizen. What is it?
it's
Just
Sausage
came out.
Lord, ain't it?
No.
Oh, you talking about Starfield? Yeah, I
Yeah,
might get on there and play
Starfield,
that too. Yeah,
Starfield,
Starfield.
and Starfield and Life of P will
But
be officially for the regular people out on Monday. So
yo,
we might be starting to get some of those out there too. So just
and
keep
I'll
up
tell
with it.
you right now, for all y'all watching, like when you watch our Twitch streams, if we're playing these hype, super popular games, we're doing what we want to do. Now you can add what you want to see in the mix, but mainly we're not out there power leveling and doing this thing. We're just going about the game because we want to enjoy the experience. Like I said before, the whole world when you taking a trip ain't about the drive. It's about what you see and what you experience in it, ain't it? Yo, and that's what we're all about. That's what the bros do, and we do it for you. Mainly for us, but also for y'all. Yo, baby. Yellow, you got anything else to add before we bounce out?
To our American friends, happy Labor Day.
Happy Labor Day, whatever that means. Like I ain't got to work, so that's all I know. Yeah, baby.
Me neither.
All right, so I guess that's it, fellas. I don't know what else to say. Having said that, for Yellow Boy and Hogs Wars, I have been OHB on behalf of Bros, Brews, and Botches. We love y'all, and we hope to see y'all soon, baby. From sunrise to sunset.